Welcome everyone to Dynasty the Podcast Show. I am your host, Ira Thomas Bristol Fourth, and this is Elite State of the Union. We're having it on a Friday. This week I didn't do as many shows, but that's irrelevant to the fact that they were all important, the ones that I did put out. What I would say is before we begin, there is what I learned this week before we get into the gist of it. This is gonna go right into it. Is that there is a battle between? It's not even a battle. It's like there's no more good and evil anymore because there's good and evil in both sides. You know what I'm saying? Every time I do something important, there's always somebody in the background jealous and envious of just putting out quality just quality. What do I say? People use it like clout or but my shows are quality. It's not meaningless. So I try my best to be active in any community that I'm in. I don't sit around and be like, oh, I used to. It's crazy because when I was younger, I used to, I tell you, I tell you all the time. I always had something to do in the evening. Usually, I didn't take really a lot of days off, so I tried to be active at all times. Whether I was playing sports, whether I was coaching, whether even later in the evenings, I try to step out and have fun with my friends. And over the time, once I got my child, I chilled out on a lot of stuff. I fell back on a lot of stuff, but that didn't change the person who I was. So like I said, the way that the world is, there's people trying to there's people that have real pure intentions that are left out of the loop of a lot of stuff, and it's like people are throwing the the influence that you have. They're throwing. It's like influence is what is key right now. It's influence is what is driving the force of energy throughout the world, and that's been like that since I can remember. It might take a longer. It might take longer for people to realize that's what it is, but I think that's what's going on with me. Everywhere I step, it's like, no, we're more influential. No, we're more influential. It doesn't matter the background that they have. They just want to they want to gain that attention. They want to gain that, I did this before him, or I said it louder than that person, or I did that. That's not how it works. So, I told y'all I was going to get very active in, as far as my beliefs and my religion. The what I'm finna really break down and start gaining more intel. I won't even call it intel. What I told y'all earlier this week, I'm gonna really, the social part of me has always been that. So one of the key things I read before, about the place that I'm gonna be attending in the next few weeks and in the future, and being a part of the stuff that they're doing, is that socialism is something that's very important in this whole scenario of things. And what I realized about the Catholic and Christian community and their religion and religious beat, they want to create this storm of that they're better, they're holier, they're not. But there's so many weakness and holes in their religion. And this goes right in hand to hand with what the main thing I'm talking about today, which was the title, ordained, you being ordained or you being paid, ordained assignment versus paid assignment. And I went to my first event, or meeting with the Jew. It's a Jewish community, so it wasn't a Jewish meeting like that, but it was they were talking about the election that's coming up in Washington D.C. and who is the elected official. So I'm gonna burn down that, and I'm gonna give y'all an example of the stuff that I'm gonna break down what we're talking about. The people were very nice. The meeting was very detailed. We went over some very key things. Some of the stuff we went on was housing, early childhood. Those are the two things that stuck out to me the most. that I was, paying attention, that I was actually speaking on. And I let them know, during the meeting, I tried my best not to make it about me. It was like, I'm actually here because I have an issue with the actual senators and governors that we're, located in all 50 states, with them standing around and not actually being senators and governors. They're a bunch of yes men. And I let them, they didn't say anything specific, but people have these set of rules in these religious avenues, and I try my best to not, it's like they're naive to think that I'm not in tune with them trying to go past the fact that they all entwined somehow, some way. You can't go around this. There's money involved, there's facilities involved, there's influential clout or gain of the ears and hearts of others, so. And people don't want to pay. People want a certain, I got a chipped tooth or whatnot. Both my teeth. I actually missed my appointment this morning because I was trying to get a voucher to get a Washington D.C. driver's license, and that comes with this whole monkey in the middle type of scenario that they keep putting me in. I hate to sound like I'm crying about it, but I'm not really crying. It's just like, why waste time? These people, they said this is what they told me to do. They told me to get I went to the place. It's not that I can't afford it. The idea is just that I don't have the financial means, to actually pay for it. If it's free, I'm going to try to get it free. So, where I was staying, they was giving out. They supposedly, I haven't been there for a week, so I try my best not to overdo stuff. And I try to, they like to make up stuff about me, but it was like more. These people been here months and months and months. I've been here less than a month, and I'm going. Well, I've been here 7 weeks in the DMV area now. So I'm going on almost a month and a half. So I've been here a month now, and I didn't come here specifically what I'm doing. I'm just stated to what I was doing when I was back in the state of Florida. That's what the people don't understand about me. I'm not doing nothing I wasn't doing. Literally, daily routine is the same, basically, than what I was doing in Florida. I'm not making this up. So the issue is people want to create a storm that is not there. They want to create a story that is not there. I do my show, I eat lunch, I eat dinner, and I mind mine. My child is a straight A student. She could do, that's the only thing she need to do right now is stay focused in class and school. Same with my nieces and nephews. All this spiritual warfare, all this propaganda that I'm big on this. I don't think I'm the one that's my family or me. I'm not trying to sound arrogant about saying this, but I'm not also not shying away from what it may be. You get what I'm trying to say? If that makes sense. I don't want to seem like what's going on is the reason why everything's reason why people are not getting their way is because I'm getting my way, or things are going to be changing for me soon. I get what I asked for because I'm patient. I'm not cutting no corners on how I take the how I get something. I ask out loudly. I ask in private. I ask when people get in front of me. I ask these questions. I ask these scenarios. So many people want to give you the runaround. Like I said, I just got my stuff stolen out of a federal. This is a federal building. This is a public library. Somebody went in there and took my stuff. I'm not making this up. That's like some of the craziest, and I'm not even in my home state. What I'm finna do then if I go down and make a police report, which I still might. It all depends on how this next few days work out because I'm still working on stuff. But I'm not stunning nobody here. I'm not. People are so in this mindset that I'm stunning them. I'm not stunning you. I'm stunning the fact that y'all still don't understand who is in the biggest way practicing spiritual warfare on the children and the elders. And me as a young man, or in that finna be in that middle range, I can handle it. But you attacking my daughter or my nephew, and they're 10 and 11 and 13 and 12 now. And my mom's getting older. People are trying to put hex and roots on my mother and my grandmother and my grandfather, and they're one. They're finna be in their 80s, and my mom's finna be in her 60s soon. Not saying she there, but you get what I'm saying. Like this is stuff that I'm talking about because this has to do with the government. This has to do with the elected officials' beliefs and the practices that they've been doing since they were born. And this has to do with me talking about this stuff all the time. So this is what I mean. Ordained means you are trying to help the people. Paid means you're here to destroy and disrupt and destroy and be corrupt. You're paid to do something evil to these people or to my people because we're not following behind your stupid rules. And then you got your grandchildren and your child strung out on painkillers and cocaine and all the stuff I talk about all the time, trying to still stay in charge and feel entitled, but y'all lost all this rank in the 1800s and the 1900s when you was practicing slavery, and now the United Nations have caught up to you, and they already threw you out of their countries before then, which is documented in the American history in the United in the this stuff is documented. So the sham that's going on, they trying to throw the money around, throw the assignment of being in charge around, being the leader of the country around, and they just in denial about who's supposed to be leading. And that's the huge problem. And I keep talking about it. This is the same message. It's more glaring every day because my petty days of people trying to maneuver around me going to get a ID voucher because I'm going to be affiliated with Washington D.C. in a big way. This is meaning like I'm going to literally in a year will be a citizen of Washington D.C. or 6 months, whatever. And once I change, once I get a place, I will change, my voter registration to here, and then I still have enough in a year or two. I could be enough where I could run for an elected seat, which is what we're talking about yesterday. I could run for elected seat in Florida, and I could run for elected seat in Washington D.C. because there's lack in the places that I'm from in Pasco. There are seats that are not even being. They're not even nobody's. It's vacant. Same thing with D.C. There's so many people walking around here on drugs, black and white. They don't know how to be leaders. They want somebody else to lead. I'm not trying to be a leader to everyone. I'm trying to be a leader to the people that want to be led or the people that need the help. And, it's a lot of people that need it. So it's time for me, somebody to step up. I had just to go right into the meeting, one of the discussions I had, the guy that I was speaking with, I forgot his name. He was very informed on political warfare and what's going on. I know he knew way more than me. He's older than me. He's more versed in this. And there was another lady. She was sitting there. She was very versed as well. And the two young ladies that was hosting it, I liked the youth there, and everybody was kind of throwing in their opinions and deciphering the information we intook. And I actually appreciated that meeting that I went to. Overall, it was we got fed and all, so it was even more. Plus that was there, and it was cool. What I will say, I would like to meet. Like I asked him during that meeting, I was like, why wouldn't you be like? He doesn't look the part, but he has the he's lacking just a little bit of the confidence of speaking in mass as a group, or probably being in a meeting, in a being on CNN all the time. But I think he will be able to handle it with a little practice, with a little boost of confidence. I was just talking to him because I felt like the stuff that he was saying, it resonated with both sides, black and white. And it wasn't biased to no side. It was just the truth. It was detailed. And that's what we're lacking now. We have these people that are so arrogant and they go right down to the depths of pettiness. They want to talk about a story where they was cheating on their wife, or their grandson. He's in the halfway home, and give him a 10th time, giving him another chance, or 11th time, giving him a chance to be in the political world that he doesn't really want to be in. They want to throw this around like this is some kind of coffee talk that's cool. Who cares? Go. Look, listen, the basics. Back to the basics. Go get you a gym membership. Go get you some of y'all rich enough to go in your house and be old people. You know what I'm saying? Watch ESPN, watch the old Western movies you like to watch. Don't bother the rest of the world with your nonsense. Sorry about the noise. But this is what I was trying to, this is the thing that I'm trying to say. They want their stuff to be the attention on that. But that is not what it is. And this is a State of the Union show. This is where we're gonna keep it just blatantly honest. So we're gonna go right into the details. I'm gonna show you what the be. I'm gonna show you something. And this is what the title, sorry about that. This is what who's who of the DC elected office. That was what the puppet was named. And I'm not gonna really go through everything. I think it was more of a private setting. I think you have to want to be there. I don't know. I try to keep it blatantly honest with y'all. When people come in and make noise, I'm not gonna stop my show. So, I don't know what they need the attention for, but I'm talking about the same thing: education, housing. This is adult world. This is what the issue is. They trying to cover it up with one adult with 5 children here, but they need to know this information need to be put out on public. I'm in Washington D.C. This is not the only state that has issues, and this is what the problem is. They don't want to talk about the real. They want to make noise about nothing, and that's the biggest thing. Well, I'm not going to. The biggest thing I learned from the the meeting was we have a lot to work on when it comes to education. Still, we have to we have to delegate the money that is for the education program. I spoke on that in my past stuff. People have to do their research on stuff that I'm speaking on. The fact that I'm in these senator offices and buildings, they have to understand that I already know what it is, what I already spoke on it. You have to just look into what I was saying already. I've done a show in the college that I went to. I've done a show on this podcast. What they need to do now is decipher what I was saying, break it down, and the fact that they're dismantling. They put this on news. They put it on news. This is for 100 days in. This was breaking news. 100 days into the person we so called is leading the country. He was like, I'm dismantling the education system. So all that stuff that they work towards, they don't want to be sons. They have to figure out the money, where the money's going to go. And one of the programs is early childhood. A lot of people, a lot of black young women and men and women they have a special program, magnet program called early childhood, where you could be working in the preschools and get your preschool 45 hours and your certificate to work in a preschool. You'll be a teacher by the time you're 17 in some cases, 16, 17 in some cases. And people are making, beginning out making $17, $18 depending on the state you in. And that's pretty good money when you're young. And you don't really have to go through the get my 4-year degrees. You can build over time. You be at 10 years preschool, 5 to 10 years of preschool, do some more hours of schooling, education schooling, and you could get into K through 12, or it was K through second grade. And then I think after 5 years, they want you to kind of have but it's hours. You're already educated on the stuff that they have in college. So once you get through that second grade, a lot of people are not. Some people are naturally born teachers. They don't even need to be in college, because I always talk about the college needing the mind of a young person to better their books that they're going to put out, their series 3 and 4 of their book, so they could teach their book as professors. But they need the minds of the youth, and the experience out of you to get that book even better than it was the first two or one or two series. And they do that all the time. And education is evolving in America, was evolving at a very slow rate. And I don't know how fast or slow it's moving now, because I'm on the side of educating. I don't and teaching. I don't have the time to, I'm trying to, when I write my books and my poem books, it's going to be very exquisite, it's going to make you think, it's going to make you explore. And, I'm just gearing up for that. That's why this podcast is so important, because I'm gearing up to be in that realm of just having something to speak on that I wrote, that I was inspired by. And, and I try to put inspiration in every show that I do. And I guess to get back to what I was trying to say. The most important thing I learned from there is the education system is dismantled. We need to figure out the money. I said that. Now, how they're divvying up. The next thing was the people that it was something mentioned. It was something mentioned about, okay, the guy that was mentioned, and he's still in office, and I didn't do no research on him yet, and I'm not from, and I just got to Trayon White. He was they said he got caught taking bribery of, for whatever reason. I didn't do my research. I'm not trying to get in tune with that. And then the other guy was praised, but I have to look at his eyes on the picture. AG Brian Schwab, incumbent, running for re-election. He's the attorney general. Now, what I say about these two incidents, one's looked at as some kind of high-powered, untouchable guy, A.G. Bryant, and the other one looks like he's going to be the scapegoat for all the stuff that he probably did, and the rest of the people that's above him, as far as their position. As the attorney general, you are supposed to be investigating and doing things in a manner of correcting things, and this is for the whole entire, people of Washington D.C. Now you trying to pin the tail on somebody that is a councilman and one of the lowest positions in let me see. The position is not, it's an imbalance. And I don't like when they talk about money, and I'm looking at it, everybody that's old enough, 25 and up, I'll just give it 25 and up, know about money and how people are finessing and stealing at an alarming rate, because they don't know how the real trajectory is. Really, the leadership is not there. It don't matter the position you have right now in the government. The leadership is not there. It's like, it's somebody there with a big name, and then where's the real leadership? That's how it looks. In the world, when you're on the United States turf, it don't matter, because this is improper. It's not trend. It's not regulating. It's an issue. And I'm not gonna speak too much. I don't want to name drop. I don't want to. Just know the election is coming. Because I hate when people want to talk over something that's so important. But I mentioned those two people: embezzlement, stealing, bribery, whatever they got going on. Just pay attention to your resources. I talked about the IRS in the show before, of the business or whatever. Them not doing their job properly, or not getting back to the right people, or not assigning, because 80 million out of 120, you're still missing 40 million. IRS, some 40 million not getting any money. So it's an issue. Then it's like they're trying to gain off. They want the wealth to be wealthy and the poor to be the poorest. So that's it for today. This is the Elite State of the Union. Sorry about the noise again. I try my best to the information, and being in a position of having the resources is two different things. But I'm happy I'm able to get off what I did. We're gonna have better shows. I know you could dive into a little bit more. I want y'all to make sure y'all go and vote, register to vote. The election's coming up. That's the biggest thing. I'm not hard to reach. My email is irabushiv@gmail.com. This is Dynasty the Podcast Show. I'm your host, Ira Thomas Rutherford, and I'll talk to y'all Monday. We're not having a show none this weekend. If we do, it's gonna be a pop-up. It's gonna be something cool. It's gonna be about sports or something. It's gonna be chill. But y'all have a good one and y'all enjoy y'all weekend.